first item is 50 Lafayette Road. So, anybody here to speak to that? Yep. So this is a little more informal than our typical TAC meeting. Go ahead and present your project, and we'll give you some feedback.
Good afternoon. Basically, my client has a oversized parcel off of Lafayette Road.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry. My name is Ryan Fowler with James Barrett Associates. I'm here today representing the Murdoch Living Trust with a proposed one-lot subdivision. My client is looking to subdivide off an existing, or an additional parcel off an existing dwelling lot in Portsmouth off Lafayette Road and Orchard Street. We went to the ZBA to get a variance to get a reduction in frontage for the existing lot last month that was granted. And so the proposed lot is conforming. It's on Orchard Street. It has a gravel access already that the previous owners at some point had put in to access the backyard.
Would it?
Yeah, if there's any questions or comments, it's a...
Are they proposing to use the gravel access as their driveway?
No, right now the client is currently, he inherited the property. The parcel will be for sale once it's subdivided. As far as what the new owners do with the parcel, they would have to go and get a driveway permit and building permits and whatnot through the city.
So the only question I had when we looked at this earlier was, we don't have any proposed footprints, the grading, erosion control, any real detail beyond the existing topo out there. I'm a little unclear on how the city manages those items when the buyer buys the lot as is. It seems like the Public Works Department signs off on the driveway permit, utility connections, but who deals with how the drainage works on the site and how it's graded? And if it's Public Works that looks at that, and you guys are fine with that, I'm fine with that, but it wasn't clear to me who's responsible when this owner flips it to a third party, and it's just a lot sitting there, and we have no oversight beyond the utility connections and the driveway. I'm not clear on the drainage and grading and how that works. So maybe, do you know the answer to that, Dave?
As a matter of fact, we do.
Okay.
So we've been studying this area for quite a while. It's going to be under construction in the very near future. We have hired CMA to do a design, which they are at the 60% level. Yeah. So we're comfortable saying that we're comfortable with the lot, except for the fact that there's no utility infrastructure on Orchard Street other than the gravity sewer main that does exist. So there is no water and there is no storm drainage connections on Orchard, that section of Orchard Street. But there will be once the project gets built.
You mean, when you say project, you mean the city's Orchard Street project, not this
Yeah,
project?
we actually call it the Willard Ave project.
Okay.
And it is funded. So we're hoping to send that out to bid in the fall for start construction next year. Yeah, so Orchard Street's supposed to get a main, but we need to, we're gonna probably need to assign some cost to this lot to pay for storm drainage connection and water main connection.
So is it fair to say the stormwater connection would allow them to pipe any perimeter drains from the house into the stormwater system that doesn't yet exist?
Exactly.
Perfect.
After they try to treat it on their lot, hopefully, a little bit. So after they try to infiltrate what they can on their lot, I would hope that we don't just send it all to the storm drain.
Yeah, it's shallow ledge up there, though.
Oh, it is?
The house, the one that's in the diagram there at the top of the sheet, the house, right next to that is a gigantic outcropping of ledge.
Oh.
So the hill is there for a reason. And, but it's not undevelopable. It just needs some utility infrastructure that's not there yet. So as for our contribution to pay for the utility infrastructure, probably at the time a building permit is pulled for the lot.
And then the water will be available when? you
We
think?
will put in a water service if we have a valid lot there of record by the time we do the project. We would drop a water service in for them, and then when they go to connect, they would pay for that service.
So is it fair to say this lot should not be developed until that Willard Street project is near completion? Otherwise, there won't be any utility connections.
There is a water main connection in front of that house to the right of the lot. Up
Yeah,
on-
number 179.
Yeah.
Which is
So-
where?
But they would have to run, if they jump ahead of the city project, they would have to run their own private water line down the street.
Where's 179? Sorry.
It's on Orchard.
On top of the street,
179.
Nick, look up.
76, is it?
Looking here, it's the same thing.
179.
I have a question.
No, I see
Yeah.
176.
So the
Oh,
water
there it
service
is.
that's shown in this plan right here
Does not exist.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
There's no
ends
water line
at the turn.
Okay.
That was taken from the base plan that was provided to CMA engineers. So I don't know where that data came from,
That is,
because our firm did the survey for CMA.
yeah, there's no water line there.
Okay. So CMA must have
That
had
we're aware of.
it was on the plans to CMA.
Yep,
Okay.
I don't doubt you.
Is CMA doing the project? Did they use,
CMA's doing the project.
so maybe they use design plans instead of their
Maybe they
actual?
gave you a bad layer, I don't know.
Okay.
There's no water there.
We'll remove that then. Thank you.
Because the other lot the other house that's shown down below you, they have water, I think, off Willard.
176?
Now, 176 would come off of Orchard, just in front of their house, or off
Off Willard?
stairs. 176
This
is
house.
that. 171 would come off of Willard, same with 205,
Right.
the two at the bottom of the sheet.
Oh,
And
it will, you mean, or it does now?
We believe they come off there now.
Okay.
yeah.
So is it fair to say, prior to construction on this newly created lot, the Public Works Department would review and approve, one, utility connections, including stormwater, connection to the stormwater system, any contribution agreement, and driveway location prior to construction? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Anything missing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we weren't planning on bringing the stormwater connection that far up the street because the lot didn't exist at the time the 60% drawings were done. But it's possible that that could happen, but the applicant's going to be responsible for the cost.
The extension, yeah.
Yep.
Is it fair to say the contribution agreements for the Willard Street project, if that's what it's called?
Sure. Willard Ave.
And-
Willard Ave, but yeah.
Well, thanks, Willard Ave project. And any required modifications to it, such as the one you just laid out. Just want to be clear to the buyer. Okay. I can reread that at some
and
point.
it's- Well, he needs to know it. It's just a TAC work session, so.
Oh,
he'll
all
have to
right,
come
so,
back to
all right,
TAC with
so
that.
that's what's coming when you come back, something like that.
Is that something you would like to see on the plan?
What?
Uh,
I
The
think it'll
note
be a
would be great to
stipulation.
put on that plan
If you put it on
for the
note,
buyer.
You wouldn't have to put it on.
Okay.
And if you want to reach out, I can give you more or less what I said.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anything else on this?
When does addressing come up? As soon as it's subdivided, is it assigned an address?
After it's subdivided, I would think.
The applicant should reach out to assessing and get a preliminary address and map lot number and have that on your preliminary plans as it goes through the formal TAC process. And then once it's approved by the planning board, assessing will start that process of actually getting it into the system so that when it's registered or filed at the registry, everything's good to go.
Presumably, it's going to have an Orchard Street address. Presumably.
What about the mulch?
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
So the Orchard Street address, if you know what it is, you could say that to the assessor, say you'd like it to be this number, or they'll tell you what number Orchard Street it'll be.
Okay.
Then it'll get checked out by,
It's 4-1, the proposed.
Works.
They have a
Maybe we'll
plan.
assign the address, he usually assigns the address.
yeah, that's what I thought, but maybe it starts in assessing and then goes to him, so he
Existing.
knows about him?
The process starts in assessing, and assessing
Existing doesn't even
reaches out to
say.
Jamie.
And then Jamie assigns the number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Tells the
picks the
assessor
number,
what the number
okay.
is.
So he'll pick
Yeah, 'cause he does it based on,
Yep.
on the distance.
Feet.
Yeah,
yeah, between,
okay.
right.
Anything else?
Anybody from the public?
Anybody?
Do we take?
If there's someone from the public who wants to speak to it, but usually there's not on TAC work session. Any other questions from you?
No, I think I'm all set.
Are you gonna try and come back at next month's TAC?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Well, reach out if you have any questions or need clarification on the stipulations that we'll likely put on it.
Perfect, thank you, I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. The next application is 700 Beverly Hill Road for a building addition. JKM Realty owner, Ambit Engineering. Good job.
Afternoon, everyone. So, John Tragan representing JMK Realty LLC. The construction manager is SJM Construction, and the project, you've got the plan up, so that's a rendering, preliminary rendering of the facade. The existing building on the top view is in the back, and then there's five-door or five-bay auto body shop addition. And the middle section is the view of the addition, right and left. The addition is on towards the middle on each side. So the existing roof slopes toward where the addition is going, and there's also like high bay windows. So the design team put in like a lower connector.
That's why it drops, because of the
That's
windows?
why it drops, yeah, for windows and also to get the rainwater off of that other roof. And then you've got the massing of the bay. So there'd be a car lift in there, and then connection between the old building and the new. All of the, if you want to go to the next, so there's a preliminary set. This survey plan is from the survey that was done previously by Easterly, used with permission. You've got the building that fronts along Beverly Hill on the right, and that is part of the operation. There's a standalone building to the left, which is all comprised of Portsmouth Auto Body Center, and the building to the left in the back is where the addition is going. The next sheet shows you some existing temporary structures that will be removed, and it shows notes about demolition. The next sheet shows the building expansion, so it has no problem with setbacks, 180 from the front, 62 from the side. It is jogged a little bit from the corner to reflect the maintenance of that catch basin that's off the south corner of the existing building. There's also a gas line that services the building that the addition is stopped before that existing gas entrance. The gas line location is from an older plan, so it's kind of close to the addition. Obviously, that would be remapped, and if it has to be moved, it would be moved. That demo plan also shows pavement cutting. So the next plan here, the grading and utility plan, shows that grade area. Right now, the property slopes from West Road towards that addition and further on. So we have to come out in order to try to assemble the addition in close proximity to the existing floor elevation. We have to come out quite a ways and saw cut the pavement and then regrade that area. That's why there's so much cutting. It looks like an excessive amount, but we want to try to keep that floor elevation 2 steps from the existing. So the grading kind of now will go either way. So a little ridge is created in the middle, sloping either way to the catch basin on the left and the right. A representative from the construction management team is here if you had other questions, and there's just a detail sheet. So they're looking to file for site plan approval to put the addition on. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Anybody? Pat?
I have addressing concerns. I don't know, I'm sure,
What's that?
I'm not sure why this has a Beverly Hill Road address, because the curb cut is on West Road.
So the lot,
I know the lot fronts both.
the plan set is based on the tax map address, but, yeah, if you want to talk about addressing the separate building, that's.
Do they have separate addresses now, the separate buildings? Is it 2 different businesses, or?
It's all Portsmouth Auto Body Center. I don't know if they do, I didn't notice it on the tax card. But you might be right.
I don't know. I know there's no curb cut on Beverly Hill Road. There's two curb cuts on West Road.
Correct. Their address, though, for assessing is 700 Beverly Hill. 2 buildings.
So I don't know if that's something that we can work on as part of this project, is to get the addressing correct.
Yeah, it seems like it should be West Road address.
Should be a West Road.
And you're going to keep the 2 driveways, I'm assuming.
Correct,
They're both approved?
correct. So it could either be 2 separate West Road addresses on the same tax map lot, or it could be 1 West Road address with Building A and a Building B.
And the storm drain goes out to West Road and then ties into our system?
No, the storm drains drain into the back of the lot on the westerly end.
Oh. So what's this drain, what's this dash drain line coming in
On sheet,
from the northeast?
which sheet?
C1.
Oh, C1.
C1.
C4 it has it. C3 has it. They all have
10-foot wide drainage easement that shows drain line, 12-foot
Is that
steel,
just maybe someone's other drainage going through the
a 12-inch
system?
steel, 12-inch PVC.
Do you guys know what that
Oh, I
is?
see that. Yep. So there, it looks like it's taken some drainage from the intersection of West and Beverly Hill and running it through the site.
Okay.
And then it does say there's a 10-foot drainage easement for that.
And then it all exits out the back. Is that DPW? Or is that
Yeah.
another- Yeah?
Yeah, the
Oh, then
city
that
of
goes behind
Portsmouth.
DPW
DPW, yeah.
into that huge drainage basin back there, or pond? Is that far?
No, it's a smaller one.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a smaller one?
it gets deposited into an area that used to be a detention pond for this building that's so grown in that it's dysfunctional. And then it goes into a culvert under the corner of the DPW lot and then pops back out where the stormwater ponds got constructed. So we'd like to see that area cleaned up Yeah, we like to see the storm drainage system well mapped out and detailed on this plan, so we know where everything's going.
And then where you're putting the new pavement in, what, you're replacing the storm drain that's there?
No, nope, no storm drain replacement, just
You're just gonna repave around it?
repave, regrade and repave.
So the only connection into the stormwater would be that roof drain into the catch basin on the side of the garage,
Yes.
which is, it's there now, I believe, right?
It is there now, yeah, but it just, the general area needs to be cleaned up. There's some invasive species back there that should be cleaned out. It's just a typical story, the detention pond did not get maintained at all, it just got abandoned.
Orphaned
And it's
detention
all full
pond.
of trash and everything else, and
Yep.
needs some upgrades. But I'd like to see the survey complete, so we know exactly where the outfalls are, what the elevations are, what the contours, so we can see that everything's functional and working. And if it is, I think we're good. If it isn't, there might be additional considerations.
Is there a reason there's only one filtration basket on the catch basin? Or there's only one proposed out of the?
Call out for it?
It is
Yeah.
CP4? North corner, northwest?
Yeah, it should be, the other one should have one too, it's a typical, should be
So-
a typical, yeah.
All of them will, okay.
Is the extent of the parking just in the lower right building, or do you just not include in other words, that building that you're putting the expansion on? Is there, yeah, where are we at here?
This is the one that,
Okay, yeah.
that's the other building that.
So the other building is striped out, but is there an actual, striped out parking lot for this building with the proposed expansion, or you just park wherever you want?
So the survey, the survey plat was done before the property came for paving. It came in under a site plan that was prepared and approved back in 2005, I believe. So, 2002. In 2002, the lot went from gravel to paved. And that's when, as David mentioned, there was proper drainage designed. So that needs to be.
So you'll provide a parking plan?
What's that?
In other words, you would provide a parking plan, I guess, wouldn't TAC want to see that? It just
That was
seems
gonna be one of
odd.
my comments, if you could provide a parking table.
Sure, I mean,
The parking table, they're gonna have plenty of parking. but-
They certainly would, right? But I mean, where's your wheelchair accessible and van accessible, whatever the case may be, right? Call it out, make it, put it there.
Yeah, I think striping the lot. Are you planning on striping the lot?
the lot is striped. We didn't. This might be no, who knows?
I can't see it on the aerial.
I think they're really faded,
Yeah,
Peter, but.
they're really faded.
Yeah, they're really faded.
Not quite visible through
Really?
satellite, but.
Aerial, but it's a 23 aerial, so.
Yeah, it seems to me in that plan set before, well, it's a striping plan out front. Yeah, well, I guess we can do that, but it's generally not, that's not public parking. The only public parking is out on the Beverly Hills side.
On the front. Yeah.
The rest of the parking lot is where they would just keep the cars that are waiting to be serviced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
You're going to
maybe.
find the 20 or so spaces in the front meet the parking demand.
Right. That was my question. If the parking out front satisfies it, then maybe you don't need anything. There's just a
Right.
question. As detailed as this group is, no one had asked it, so I figured I would.
There's just a ton of parking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
But I
all
did-
for cars waiting to be
I
serviced.
did notice on the plan, are you expanding the concrete curbing? Because there's cars in the back that are parked on the gravel and up to the property line or over the property line in some cases.
Eric's Beverly Hill Parks.
Because there's a little bit of gravel that comes in, it looks like. Or
In the
maybe it's-
aerials?
Maybe it's, actually, no, the pavement just changes shape back there. But I saw on the plan that you have curbing, it looks like further than where it goes today on the plan. So you're gonna, is that curbing new, or is that just picking up what's out there? On sheet one,
Sheet 1, so,
so that's the existing,
yeah, that was before it was paved.
that shows a lot of.
It said, it showed concrete curbing, and then the design plan kept that concrete curbing. So if you're talking about up to the right of the,
The only plan that shows the concrete curbing is the boundary plan,
Yeah.
because then you zoom in and you don't see that.
when you look at an aerial.
Or no, when you look at the other sheets, because you, sheet C2,
Yep. So the rest of the sheets just focus on the building with the
exactly,
addition, not the
right,
whole site.
right. I'm just trying to get them to rein in the parking a little bit, I guess. Maybe they're fine. It's hard to tell with that. It looks like, when I look at the aerial, it looks like they're on the gravel. But then when I look closer at it, maybe they're not.
I don't know, it's an interesting site. If you look back at the aerials, we went back as far as we could on the aerials. And even in 1992, it was pretty much, the whole lot was gravel being used.
Okay.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's been, disturbed, not vegetated for a long time. And then they came in 2002 and put in pavement.
Do you know when or if this property got a special exception for the automotive use? It might predate the zoning. But I'm
Probably,
just wondering if you have any knowledge of that.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't see anything that I recall on the other plans that we got from previous development. And the lot itself was part of the Lafayette West development, but I think it was cut out early because even on the subdivision plan, that lot had already been surveyed out before they put in West Road and all that. So
Okay.
I think it's been there a while.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Do you need us to follow up on that, or were you?
I'll check our files.
Yeah.
And then if we need follow-up, I'll let you know.
Yeah, they're not really doing anything, any new use.
Right.
Just expanding the existing.
They're expanding the existing, so if that means they're expanding a non-conforming use, I don't know. Does it?
Question.
Okay.
You guys have anything?
Do they meet open space?
They don't meet it today.
What's the open space?
Unless it's 5%, no.
20% minimum.
Yeah, there's,
But the parking that they're replacing is already not open space.
It's already not open space, but. It's true.
So, I guess as far as we're concerned, detail the entire drainage system so that we can see the entire lot and everything that's going on with topography. Determine if there's any other actions needed. Other than that, I think we're okay.
Gee, the Beverly Hill project in the future, we may need a 10-foot temporary construction easement for when we redo part of Beverly Hill Road to work on our grading, but it's just a note that may happen.
Are those trees along West Road still there? Show on the boundary plan?
I think it's trees. I think so. There's some that continue along Public Works, too. Yeah, this is 2022, so.
Okay, good, yeah. You know what, I just had a question about the monitoring well. Is that a currently monitoring well? Why it hasn't a monitoring well on the site?
I do
Look it
not.
up with the state. If you have any info about that, that would be helpful.
Mhm.
Anybody? Any other questions for you, John?
I think so. Would we need to submit trip generation and stuff like that, because it's just the backside of the house, not expanding?
I guess it'll depend on the non-conforming use, maybe, but, I don't know, I guess that we could look at the
Oh, okay.
parking numbers.
We'll work up against it.
I think I'll have to look at that, but I don't, you're not changing the use that much. I mean, that by 5 vehicle bays.
Right, and there's a number of them there that are there now. So it's like the addition of 2.
I don't know, maybe Eric can weigh in on that if he thinks they need it, but
Okay, I can ask them directly. So the open space there's a little bit of not paved area that is going to become building, so we're increasing the area that's not,
it's already not open space.
it's,
So there's areas without pavement you're covering,
yeah, right against the building, there's an area.
a little strip?
A little strip.
Can you
so-
offset that somewhere else?
Yeah, we offset it to the right. If you go to
already did
the,
that.
yeah, if you go to the next plan or the 2 plans down,
But you're adding, what, 80 square
we're
feet?
adding back less pavement, so making the strip on the right side of the addition wider, so it doesn't change the impervious surface on the entirety of the lot, which is quite high because it has been gravel and then it was paved under a permit.
Well, no, you've already done it, and I'll say what's obviously, I think, obvious, maybe not to the parking people, but more is more. I mean, rather than, I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 or what your ratio was of replacement for displacement, but the more open space, more non-impervious surface you can put out there, the better for drainage. So I'd encourage you to go as far as your client will let you go, than just a 1-to-1.
Yep, okay.
Do you know what the open space is now? I don't see it on here.
Let's see if it was calced for the,
Well, we know it's not 20.
Yeah, but I just want to check if we're going to look at non-conforming.
the previous plan said it was 22.5%. It must have been because of the stuff in the front. Because there's an open space in the front.
Yeah, that counts.
What's that?
That counts.
Yeah, yeah. So this
20% of that side is,
22 and a half, you said?
that's what it says on this plan.
Is that in the boundary plan?
that's it?
That's a different plan. We don't have that plan.
Well, it's in your record somewhere. That was approved.
You didn't catch it.
I didn't go look at the records.
No, the 22%, the mistake.
22-ish.
Oh, and you got all this over here, right? All this over here is also
I guess
not
that's
paved.
what was counted before, yes.
Yeah, so looks like it's conforming, if that's correct.
Okay. That's good? All right. So we're going to come next month?
No. The drainage needs a little work. I'll probably meet you out there, David.
Yeah, the drainage will need a little work.
All right,
All right,
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
adjourned.